so I'm actually a SILS employee. I've been there since July 2005, and I'm probably the most unlikely science librarian you will ever meet. I started out as a history major, history and politics, and I went to Meredith. And I had really intended to, after I finished Meredith, I thought, oh, I'll just work for a year or two, and then I'll go to law school. That's a good thing for a history major to do, a history politics person. So I actually got a job in a law library with the U.S. courts in Raleigh, and it was a really good experience because it taught me that I probably wouldn't enjoy being an attorney, but I really enjoyed legal research and research in general, and I think that's when it dawned on me that I'm a reference librarian too, and you know, that's really, when I look back, that's what I enjoyed about college was, you know, being in the library and researching things, you know, getting down to writing the paper, not so much, but I really enjoyed the research part. So I decided to go to library school, and I went to North Carolina Central. I worked full-time, and it was an 8 to 5 kind of job, so it was North Carolina Central was the best choice for me. And I concentrated in special libraries, and I fully intended to stay with the law libraries, with the courts. When I graduated from library school, I took a permanent professional position in Greensboro, and I actually got to create a library from the ground up for the courts there, and I was a solo librarian, and it was a great experience. Solo librarians get to do everything, so you wear many hats and get a lot of different types of experience. So it was a good experience there, and it was a great experience to actually be able to create a library. That was a lot of fun. But then I got married, and my husband couldn't find a job in Greensboro, so I needed to move back to Raleigh, and this was about the time that Dialogue was moving their world headquarters to Cary. And I loved Dialogue too in library school. I was one of the maybe 3 people in my class that enjoyed it. So I was just really excited by the thought of going to work for Dialogue. And I didn't think there was any way I would get a job at Dialogue. And to be quite honest, if they weren't at the point where they were hiring just massive amounts of people, I probably wouldn't have gotten the job had I tried to get it a few years later. But because I had been a law librarian and knew what a patent was, they decided they decided, well, she'd be a great person to put intellectual property support. So I got hired as a subject specialist at Dialogue, which is basically, I was a reference librarian over the telephone. And it was great. I learned so much about patents and trademarks and copyright and all of that. And then had the opportunity to cross-train into other areas. So that's where I learned about sci-tech information and business information. Dialogue was a great training ground for me. I had so many opportunities there. I was able to do project management. I was able to get instruction experience. I worked with Elizabeth on an internal training program, and you know, that was something that I'd never done before and never imagined myself training. And now I do that all the time, and doing instruction classes. So I got to learn that skill there, and I got the opportunity to manage people there, something I never really imagined myself doing when I was in library school either. So it was a great experience. I had so many opportunities that I was thankful for. But it got to the point where, you know, I really miss being a real librarian. I worked with librarians, I served librarians, but I missed working in a library setting, and that sort of you know, connection that you have with your patrons. And so I applied for the job at the EPA library and thought, oh, this is kind of a long shot because history major, science library. But it turned out that a lot of my experiences with the courts and at Dialogue proved to be really what they needed. They needed the dialogue experience, which I had. They needed the management experience, and they needed, you know, somebody that had done instruction. So there were a lot of things, experience with government documents, which I had through the courts. So it was kind of this weird coming together of things that I had experienced in other areas that I was able to transfer into the EPA job, and it's been a really good experience for me. We have an internship program, which I flyers if anyone is interested in applying for the internship program. It's a wonderful experience where you're able to spend a few months in each facet of the library. You'll spend time in interlibrary loan, at the reference desk and cataloging, some other aspects of the library. And it really gives you an opportunity to find out, your likes and dislikes. And again, you may be surprised. You may think you're a cataloger and end up loving reference. That does happen. So it's a great opportunity for you to get professional level experience. And it's a great opportunity for us to get fresh ideas, and we constantly have all these new faces coming through, looking at things from a fresh perspective. So I really learn as much from the interns as that I hope by teaching them. So if you're interested, see me. I've got flyers for that. So that's pretty much it. But it's just one of the things that I like to stress to people is keep your options open, because you really never know where you're going to end up. And even experiences that you feel like are not, how is this ever going to help me? You never know what a future employer is going to be attracted to, and you never know what skills that you learn that you think maybe don't even think of as skills are going to help you